More time to feel. More time to smell. More time to taste. More time to taste again. And again. And again. With Liebherr, the combination of perfect humidity and precise temperatures keeps your food fresh for longer. Even the ones you don't like. Because food is simply too precious not to get the most out of it. Enjoy timeless freshness with BioFresh by Liebherr.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Pam McNally with NKBA, and I'm here today with designer Joan Ravasy of Joan Ravasy Design, who is specialized in high-end residential interiors in New York, New Jersey, and Florida's Palm Beach for the last 25 years. If anyone knows how the 1% are personalizing and customizing kitchens, it's Joan. Welcome, Joan.
Thank you, Pam.
I got to tell you, I've been looking forward to this conversation ever since you and I had a discussion about this at Women to Women, that Women to Women event last month.
Yes.
It's so much fun.
I'm very excited about it too. And these images, Pam, are absolutely brand new. They're probably not even 2 days old that this project was just completed and these photographs taken. So very happy to chat with you about them today.
Well, the reason you're here is because I got to say, when I saw the images, and we're going to just jump right in, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what we've been talking about, how the client today is personalizing their kitchens and making them unique and different. So let's just jump right in. I do want to talk to you a little bit about texture, because when I look at this kitchen, what I do see is texture. I see minimal color. I see texture, beautiful surfaces. So talk to me, how do you use texture like these like these cabinets that are ribbed floor to ceiling?
That's a great question, Pam. I'm very much about layering texture, whether it be through wood, fabric, metal, steel, stone, porcelain. We decided with the client early on in this very beginning of this project, we started with the design of the door. And this was where we gained our inspiration to have this multi-ribbed, or I call corrugated door. We went through many, many samples with the manufacturer, which was a wonderful workroom in Riviera Beach, Florida. They were absolutely amazing to work with, and we went through many samples creating this texture on the door. So we try to use texture in a very specific way here. And in this case, as I said, was on the doors. And wherever there was a corrugated texture, we only used it to go from the floor to the ceiling. And if you'll notice, the lower cabinetry are all smooth fronts, other than under this dining area where we wanted to repeat that texture and create interest in the dining area at the end of that island.
So what made you think about only doing it on the top and not the lower cabinets?
Again, it comes back to texture, Pam. Sometimes it's too much of a good thing. And you want to use it in an area where it is seen. Also, the ceilings are 10.5 feet high. And we wanted to truly expand the feel of the height of the room. So when I do that, I take things to the ceiling, and we use the verticality of that corrugated door to emphasize the height of the ceiling. And then to the hard right, you may see something on the hard right there, again, additional vertical panels, which go into the wine room. And we again use them vertically to the ceiling from the floor. So that created a lot of texture and as a contrast to the smooth floor and the countertops.
So I'm sure everyone wants to know what kind of wood.
That is rift-cut white oak.
Wow. And I'm assuming custom.
Custom, 100%. This was a very fortunate project for me with very good clients. We all had a very similar vision, and we took it a step at a time. We also, very important in the state of Florida, to use very good vendors and very good suppliers that were, quite frankly, able to make our dream come true. So every square inch, and I mean every square inch, is absolutely custom.
Well, it looks it. So I'm going to take a step back a little bit, Joan, because we jumped right in. I get so excited that I always forget. But
I do
let's
too.
let's step back and talk to me about the process, how you talk to the client to get where we are today. How did you get them to kind of tell you what they wanted? What is the process that you use to kind of draw that out of them?
Well, it's a lot of listening. It's a lot of talking as well. But I tend to enjoy to hear the client talk about their dream. Now, this all began on drawings. Nothing was built. The house was not built. It was being designed. I worked with the architect. So we had a lot of time in the beginning to think through our concept. And I will say, Pam, a designer is able to do their best work when clients are on the same page and they are not resisting you every step of the way, and they are wanting to think about new ways to approach design. And when doing contemporary interiors in discussions with my client, I shared with them how unforgiving it is to work in contemporary environments. And the built home, both exterior and interior, it's unforgiving because everything has to join up properly. We can't say, oh, a little space there, let's put a piece of molding over it. You will notice here, this is the refrigeration wall. And behind all of these panels are SKS refrigeration. There are 2 freezers and two refrigeration units, columns as we call them. Now, you'll notice how the cabinet maker lined up all of those corrugated edges from top to bottom and side to side and where the doors meet. So these are the sort of conversations in great detail you have with your vendors, your suppliers, your workrooms, and looping the client in. And it really is, for them, a learning process. So that's how I bring them along, is to, I want to use the word educate. And I'm learning too. So we tend to educate each other and share what's out and what's new in the marketplace. I get to know my clients very well. And in this particular client, I say, I am here to save you from yourself.
I'm sure a lot of clients, I'm sure a lot of your clients, Joan, are happy that you did that, especially.
Well, yes, I try. Because, Pam, at the end of the day, it saves them money. And you don't want to make any mistakes, and you don't want any change orders. That's my motto. When I'm on a design build, no change orders.
So
clients don't like them.
No. And you know what? Interesting that everyone thinks that when you're working with very high-end clients that they have money to burn, but I bet you that they're pretty strict with their budget.
Very much so. And I am too. I'm very prudent. This was not an inexpensive space. At all. But I also tell my clients I'm here to save you money, not to spend it. So they know that. And, when I'm presented with something with one of my suppliers, my first question is, how much does it cost?
Right.
So, my clients appreciate that. Absolutely.
So I did want to go back. If we could go back to that last image, I want to talk a little about the hardware. What I love about this is that oversized, and I think it's matte black hardware.
Yes.
Beautiful. So talk to me about that, because hardware used to be hidden, smaller. Now this is pretty right in your face. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on hardware. Why did you make this call to make them so big and oversized?
Well, it's, for me as a designer, Pam, a lot has to do with scale. I tend to tilt to things that are overscale than underscale. And as I mentioned, the ceiling is 10.5 feet tall. I love the verticality of this hardware. And, I kind of go by the ethos, bigger is better, more is better in certain situations. But we selected this. These were custom made for the project in a custom size. It was part of the overall design. It was in my mind 2.5, 3 years ago that this was the kind of hardware that I wanted to use. But in fact was one of the last selections we made when the kitchen came together. I work very hard to stay in line with the schedule, that things are, you don't ever want to hold up a project. But I also know when to hold back, when I know that, okay, Joan, I can make this decision a bit later, because things change in your mind and with the client as they start seeing the project come together. Now, this is hardware on very special, custom-made iron cabinetry from a company called Palm Bay Iron. They are on the west coast of Florida. They are known for their black iron windows, hurricane rated, of course. I took their products and their concepts and brought it to the inside of the house. And they made these incredible museum-worthy flanking glass cabinets either side on the refrigeration wall. And these are completely mirrored inside. They are they're lit. And we used MTech hardware. That was their hardware of choice, which is a lever handle. And then, of course, in the vertical manner, repeated it in the pulls on the refrigeration wall. So that black straight line, whether horizontal or vertical, is repeated through the division of the divided lights on the doors. You'll see it in the lighting. You'll see it in the ceiling ribbon lighting. You'll see this concept throughout.
So you keep talking about I'm assuming that you brought your clients to either look at the hardware or show them the hardware. Talk to me about how you work with your clients that way. Do you bring them to show them? Do you
Yes.
show them renderings, 3D? Can you talk a
Oh,
little
yes.
bit about that?
We have very, very detailed drawings. And when we were designing this kitchen, Pam, the drawings were actually their work of art. In working with the cabinet company, the company is called Artistry, out again of Riviera Beach, Florida. They have excellent people that I work with in creating the drawings. So I never do anything without a drawing, whether it's an existing space or brand new. Obviously, it's brand new, we need to have drawings. So when I say I'm referring to a team. It takes a team to do this. It's not just Joan Ravasy. It's the client. There are many wonderful people I work with to this day that I absolutely adore. Again, back to the linear, Pam, if I may say, you'll see it up in the Sonneman lighting. You'll see that very straight line. These look silver, but they're actually black. And those, again, go down the length of the two islands, which are over 12 feet long.
So,
and they're,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. And so that, again, that linear, just staying with a concept, an idea of architecture that you wish to repeat here, and we did through the house as well.
So I really did, when you talk about custom, you talk about art, I really do want to talk about your backsplashes, because one of the first images you showed me made me think, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So is this where you can have that kind of impact? I mean, everything else has impact, but that's like showstopper. So when you were designing that backsplash, what were your thought process? Did you run this by the client? Was it from them that you got the inspiration? Where did this come from? Because this looks like a piece of art.
Thank you. I call this the hero wall, because this is the wall we see as soon as we make a hard left into the space from the main entry. This again was part of the overall design. We looked at, in the state of Florida, many, many pieces of material. I call it process of elimination. I have an idea of what I want and what I would like to recommend, but the client and I looked at many, many slabs. As we did that, Pam, it became clear and evident that we wanted to go into a black and white, or black, gray and white, as this really looks like, material to create the backsplash. And we wanted it to be two pieces of material. And this material is also repeated in the adjacent hard left and hard right, butler pantry and laundry room. So we repeated it elsewhere in the house. And here it is in the butler's pantry. Now, what makes this extraordinary is that it's book matched. We bought over 14 slabs of material from a wonderful vendor in West Palm Beach. And we did many computer-generated drawings creating the book match, because there's several ways you can do it. One of the things that I kept uppermost in my mind in selecting the slab material is I knew I would need a lot of it. Again, 14 slabs, that's a lot. So I was looking at not only design, Pam, but also cost. And availability, that I could get material. Now, this happens to be porcelain. I was very strong on not using 3/4 inch material. I wanted to use something 1/4 inch because I didn't want to take up that space. I didn't want to have that weight on the wall. I didn't want to add to the thickness of all the window jambs, et cetera, as you go into the other areas adjacent to this hero wall. Then the design became, this wall in particular was a lot of work, because this is exactly how the slabs looked when we reviewed them in the stone yard. And we just took it and book matched it on the ventilation area. And then underneath, we continued that book match. And then we designed it to, as I described, drip down onto the countertops and also the countertop edge.
And what about the vent hood? Is that also the same material and the same design?
Yes, that's also the same material. And again, you'll see that design of the veining is exactly what you would see in the laundry room and in the butler's pantry. So all of that is repeated exactly as it is on this hero wall.
And did you match it exactly? Because if you look at the veining, it almost matches up with the backsplash above the range in terms of
that. It does, yes. And this is where, Pam, you must, as kitchen designers, you must use excellent vendors and suppliers and stone yards and fabricators. I remember telling the build team, which a company is called PB Built out of Jupiter, and I said to Anthony, his name is Anthony, we got along famously. I said, Anthony, I want Michelangelo on this job. I said, I want Michelangelo on this project. And we made sure we got the right workroom. And that is key, absolutely key. When you're using such expensive material, you have to use the right fabricators.
Did you have any mistakes? Was there, when putting this together, did you have to, I look at your face now and I'm saying there must have been something.
Well, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I did not make any mistakes.
Good.
Because I know that sounds incredibly arrogant. In my career, I've made many mistakes, but I look at my work as no mistakes allowed. It's too expensive. There's too much involved. And, I think about it a lot before anything happens. And I avoid mistakes. Although there are always things that are happening in the field when you're walking through the house, there's always some sort of, let me say, structural issue that has to be cared for. And I don't call them mistakes. Usually they're by, some mistake in the drawing, or, usually when you have a drawing, it's a piece of paper. When you go build it, there's always going to be adjustments. So I call them adjustments. But no, and because I know my clients wouldn't tolerate it. They just would not tolerate an expensive mistake.
So was there an adjustment you need to do for this kitchen? Was there some surprise that you weren't expecting?
Yes, I love you for asking me that. It's hard to see in this image, but we were walking through, we were wiring up the house for lighting. There was no sheetrock up yet. And what had changed was throughout the house was the HVAC system. Now, as you know, HVAC in Florida is very, very important and is always something that we consider everywhere. It's not something we address later. That drives the whole project, is the HVAC system. Now, in the kitchen, we walk in and I'm there with Anthony and my client, and I look up and I say, okay, Anthony, what's with all this HVAC up here in the ceiling? He goes, we had to put the main system over the kitchen. And we have all the trunks leading to the rest of the house for the second floor and this floor, which meant I could not do any really extraordinary recessed lighting. I could do almost none at all. So I'm standing there and you'll see these very narrow lines. And within 20 minutes, I'm walking around the kitchen like, oh my gosh, we have this beautiful kitchen. We have to light it. We used ribbon lighting. Anthony had never used it before. I had my iPad with me. We pulled it up and we created a beautiful design framing the kitchen and around that beautiful skylight that you see in front of the ventilation hood. So all of that, it turned out I didn't plan for the HVAC to be over the kitchen. And we were all very worried about it because it takes up all of that ceiling that you're seeing there. I did have room to do those surface mount Sonneman lighting. So it solved the lighting.
Interesting because it looks like you did it on purpose.
Well, thank you. That's the idea. You want to look like you thought about it.
Because these two linear elements for lighting are beautiful. And you could have done, to be honest, some people might have done something more expansive, something more along the lines to be more eye-catching. But I think that this works with, at least my humble opinion, it works with the kitchen because the kitchen is such a standout. So kudos to you for thinking of that.
Thank you.
So can we switch gears a little bit? Because you know what? I have to say also the gold faucet.
Yes.
I love that. Talk a little bit about adding that little bit of glam. I mean, everything here is very streamlined, modern, and that just really struck me. Talk to me a little bit how you made that decision of the faucet in gold.
Well, I love mixed metals, Pam. To me, it's a classic. I love it in jewelry. I love it in materials. I love the concept, even in color, where you have warm color and cool color. You could reference a gold with a gray. They look beautiful together. And that I try to repeat that in a lot of my work. These faucets are from Waterstone. They look very shiny at this point, but we did opt to go to the living finish, which is a fairly, I'm not going to say new, but it has been perfected in that one can use these materials, living finish. As you use them, they become aged naturally. As the client used with hand oils or, other materials, whether it be food, oils or anything happening in the kitchen where it's handled by the client or whoever's using the kitchen. So we loved introducing the gold. It softens it. It also was important because we brought this color, the living gold finish, throughout all the bathrooms and up into the second floor. And into the adjacent bar. So as a designer, and in particular in contemporary interiors, I'm a great believer of being consistent and picking something, Pam, and using it everywhere. Beautiful. And that's what we did here with the living gold and the softness.
Is there any technology built into the faucet, or is it just a traditional lever back and forth? Any voice automation?
No, it is a what I would call a standard faucet. It's very simple in its design. I did like a single hole faucet here this is again the butler's pantry, and there's no technology in particular with these faucets.
And what just because we're here, what about the countertops? What is that? What material is that?
Okay, these again, I was very fascinated. These are, to answer your questions, porcelain. Mm-hmm. This is Decton from Cosentino. Yep. Again, when you're at this level of work, you want to use the best vendors available and the best materials that they offer, because you're going to get the best result. And it's, I was very modest in selecting other materials, but I knew the countertops, the walls, and the cabinetry, there's no replacing those. The client does not want to replace those down the road. So this is Decton in their color called graphite.
Beautiful. Yes. I love that. Now this is, if we go back to the image with the two islands in the main kitchen, definitely different than what's on your islands.
Correct. This is again Decton Cosentino. The color name escapes me, but it is all Cosentino product in their soft suede white. Now, this is a matte finish. Again, contrast and textures, Pam, you brought up earlier, shiny versus matte, gloss versus eggshell. These are the sort of things that we use to create visual texture and tactile texture. So we chose white, again, to echo the white of the rather polished finish of the Hero Wall porcelain.
Gorgeous. So, Joan, why 2 islands? It's a pretty big statement.
It is, yeah.
You said they were 12 feet or 18?
These are, yes, the slab, we use the full Cosentino slab. That is one slab of material, one slab. And again, you go to vendors that they have that sort of size product available to us. So this is 12 feet by 4 feet. The island, of course, I wanted drama. I go for drama. I'm always wanting to change it up a bit and do something that maybe has not been done before or you don't see too often. But the way I designed it, it was to lead into the SKS Pro range, which you see right ahead of you, and that frames it. So that was part of the design. I also very big on what I call line of sight, Pam. What something looks like from a certain angle. And I think about that all the time in my mind and in my sleep or lack of sleep. Yeah, I'm thinking, how is something going to look as I walk into it or as I'm sitting in another room? So that is where the idea of the 2 islands came up, as opposed to it being horizontal with the Hero Wall. We did them perpendicular. We had enough space for 2, and the client liked the idea for the way they entertain.
And what is storage? What are you storing in the islands? I see you have cabinetry. Is there any appliances? Is that an appliance there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. They are dishwasher drawers that we use. And there's on the far end a small microwave, a drawer microwave. The drawers to the left are storage for dishes. They're all been fitted out with products from Richelieu, which and you can see also on the hard right underneath the island, one of the drawers pulled out, that extraordinary hardware that's been used. I believe that's from Hayfla. So you can see how that just suspends the drawers. It pulls out for heavy storage. So, but mostly cookware, dishes, stacked dishes, everything's divided specifically within each drawer. And we thought about each drawer and what was going to go in it.
Was that part of the personalization?
Yes.
Inside the drawers, how the family uses it. Talk a little bit about that. How did you? Because that seemed to me it would be not only detailed but a pretty time-consuming process.
Very time-consuming. It's very high detail. It's really looking at, again, your drawings, reviewing drawings with the client, sitting down with, I still use sheer vellum over my original drawings, and I make my notes, and my clients are telling me or requesting from me what they would like stored where.
Nice.
And we mark that out in the drawing. So Artistry, who made all this beautiful cabinetry for us, they know how we're going to divide up these drawers. And the client knows that they're going to get everything they need and have room for everything that they need. Now, just back to hardware, Pam, here I did hand pulls. You see, I routed the top of the drawers so that the client just puts their hand in. It's very soft. They can grab the drawer at any point, wherever they're standing, and pull the drawer open. So we eliminated hardware. We only wanted hardware on, shall I say, the more important vertical areas.
Is there hardware? I'm trying to see. Is there hardware on the 2 cabinets that are flanking the hood? Is that hardware to the right, or are they also soft touch open? Right.
Actually, these photographs were taken just before that hardware was going up. In fact, you can see the little tape pull, which is, you see the little tape at the top of the door. That's something we do. Actually, we repeated on this hero wall, all of the hardware is horizontal gold hardware. So in a matte living finish to echo the gold of the faucet. So we made this hero wall even more important and different than the rest of the kitchen by using gold hardware, which is not installed in this photograph.
So I love your mix of textures, and something that really was staring me in the face. If we can go back to that 2 island, talk to me about those legs.
Oh, the lucite legs.
I
Yes,
love lucite, and this
yes,
would
yes.
never have expected that, Joan. I have to be honest. So talk a little bit how you got there.
Well, I love the unexpected.
Mhm.
I don't want to be too predictable, but, this came out through a collaboration in the meetings with clients that we're creating the space, personalizing it for them. This is what it's all about because no other kitchen like this exists. It's just for my clients. And they said to me, we knew we were going to do dining at the end of one island, informal dining. And I'm very big on that. And this will have chairs all three sides. And my clients would be, Joan, what about lucite? Well, we all jumped out of our seats. Oh, what a great idea. We ran into the sample room. We pulled out some lucite samples. We put it up against the wood. And Joan, I love it. Let's go with the lucite. So it really was an idea of the client that we made happen. It was her personal touch, among others.
It's beautiful.
But unexpected, and she, of course, would say to the team, what do you think? But we loved it. And 5 inches by 5 inches, by the way, those are pretty amazing to get in lucite.
So since we're here and we can see the flooring, talk to me a little bit about the flooring.
Okay. This flooring is very special. This comes from France. This is engineered. Well, I shouldn't say that. In a way, it's engineered, but it's white, rough cut oak from France. And we know that France has beautiful oak. They make all of their wine barrels out of French oak. That's always very desirable. So this is what we used in the kitchen. We wanted the floor to be on the lighter side. I mean, this is Florida, but yet we didn't want the house to, and I'm a lot in Florida. We all are. I didn't want it to scream Florida, but we just wanted it light. And it's a wonderful off-white cool tone. Again, it's a cool tone that works against the warm tone of the cabinetry. So that's what the floor, it's a 6-inch wide random plank.
Anywhere else in the house? Did you do it throughout?
Again, yes, I'm sorry, Pam. It is, again, being consistent is used throughout the entire house.
Any delays in shipment?
No. One of the things, we plan ahead. We try to select things. The first thing I ask, how much is it? And the next question is it in stock? So we had plenty of material. We were able to order everything we needed.
So I'm dying to know, how long did it take? Start to finish?
I was there when they demolished the house that was on this lot. So I was there during demolition. And that was easily 2.5 years ago. Wow. But we already had the drawings before that. So we had started work on the architectural drawings and already thinking through our design. So I would say by the time I absolutely finish this, which might be in January or February, I would say 3 to 4 years.
Wow. I
think when one is building, it's 3. You have to plan. I plan 3 years. I say 2 years to my clients. That makes them happy, but it's really 3 in my world. Or let me say perhaps in Florida, because Pam, the standard, the codes in Florida, of course, given weather conditions, are extraordinary. They are. It's not for the faint of heart. So it's because of it. It is so expensive. You're meeting requirements for very particular weather conditions, and if you don't, you can't get insurance. So I don't want to extrapolate the conversation out to the outside of the house, but it was a big deal picking out the roof. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Any indoor-outdoor opportunities in the kitchen area here? I know I saw a rather large either window or door that overlooked the pool. Is that in the kitchen area or is that somewhere else
Yes,
in the house?
that's adjacent to the kitchen area. Those are one of the photographs. Okay, here are the doors on the hard left.
Right.
Those are doors that fold back and go out to a equally fabulously designed outdoor living area and outdoor kitchen.
And let me ask you about that outdoor kitchen. Now I'm sure you designed it. Did you
Yes.
design it in the same way that you designed the indoor, or what were your thoughts on making sure that there's a tie to the indoor outdoor?
Yes, absolutely. We chose materials, and yes, I did design it. A lot of input from my male counterpart client, uh, because that would be the area he would be working in. So this is, obviously we're still under construction here, but the hard left is the kitchen. Again, we used Cosentino product on the countertops and on the walls. The floors are 24 by 24 inch limestone. And that was echoing the color of the floors from the inside. So these beautiful nano doors open up, they disappear into the walls, hard right and left for outdoor living. So you are now in the living room, you would then just walk right out to outdoor living. Also, a lot of things were put in place for insect control, light control, wind control, so we can keep all of this. And here the doors are closed, overlooking the redesigned pool. Actually, I designed that as well. And here they are overlooking the pool. So you can walk right outside. And yes, we repeat the materials. Again, the limestone is all around the pool decking and also continues around both sides of the house and to the front of the house. Exact same material.
So it sounds like you really invested a lot of time and effort in this kitchen. So let me ask you, is this one of your favorite projects, or can you describe? Go back to that right there.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? And yeah, I was involved in the landscaping and the upper portico. And to answer your question, yes, it definitely is one of my top projects. I will say, as a designer personally, you don't get many of these in your career. I would say this is probably the fourth one I've had in my entire career. And I cherish every moment of it because they're such a gift. And part of the gift is working with wonderful clients that allow you to bring their dream and their personal taste to reality. And they trust you to do it. And that is an honor for me. I don't take that lightly.
And based on the time and effort that you put into this, because it looks like you really do put your heart and soul. I mean,
I did.
no wonder you don't sleep, because I wouldn't be sleeping either. How many of these kitchens do you do in a year, or how many do you do at the same time?
In my work of this caliber, again, these might come around once every 2 or 3 years. But my renovations I do a lot of renovations. Here in New Jersey, we do a lot of retrofits. So, I have quite a few of those going on. I think 3 or 4 at a time for me. And to do a good job, that's the most I'd want to take on. Because there's a lot to think about there. It's a lot of detail.
And the one thing we didn't even talk about was technology. So you talk about, the lighting and the doors. Is all of that some sort of preset, automated, app control?
Yes. We used a Lutron homework system. I'm a big fan of Lutron. We did look at Savant, but Savant, as much as I love them and use them a lot, it was, for this size house, Pam, was more than what we needed. So the homework system was integrated throughout this house. The client has all the apps on his phone. So it's all integrated into his Apple iPhone, from the lighting to the thermostats to you name it. It's on to the televisions, to how the doors lock. All of this, the alarm system, the sound system, is all in apps on his phone. And that was his preference. He didn't want to have panels everywhere in the house. He wanted to use his phone to control it.
So that was part of your, I would say, personalization of the space, allowing
yes.
them to do that.
Yes, and he was very involved in that. But Pam, on projects like this, you have to use people much smarter than yourself, and I made sure that, listen, we went with a great company that was going to do a good job. I can't ever begin to understand or educate completely my clients on technology. I can only point them in the best direction for them to what company to use. And in this case, it was Lutron. So, and they took it from there. And again, using good vendors, a lot of whom are our sponsors in New York, and I remain dedicated to that, who they are.
And tell me what makes a good partner in a brand? Like, what do you look for?
Availability. Just about every one of these vendors I'd hear on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday night at 9:00 if I needed an answer. And they were right there for me. So it was the reps, the representatives that I work with very closely and I'm very loyal to, that were always available to me. I think having an extraordinary showroom, because clients are very visual. They absolutely want to see what something's going to look like and what they're spending all this money on. So they definitely want to experience a good showroom, a good rep, and good customer service. And that they're going to help you if there's a question or a concern or something is delayed. That to me is absolutely key in who I do business with. So, but on the other hand, Pam, I'm very loyal. I mean, I'm loath to change vendors. I probably in my entire career, I almost never do that.
And what would make you want to change a vendor?
If I felt they weren't maybe handling the project properly or being good to the client, I look at that because my clients do interface with them and interface with their showrooms. But I'm very fortunate that I choose well in the beginning, and many people who I meet through NKBA, that I know I'm doing the right thing.
Well, Joan, I have to tell you, amazing project.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk? I think we've kind of explored most everything about this project. And I have to say, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a lot of questions, more details, because this has been amazing.
Well, it was an honor to talk to you today, Pam, and I'm happy to answer any other questions, but I think we covered it. I just would maybe point out the stair, which was integral to this kitchen, because as you can see, it's right near the kitchen. And again, we wanted to repeat that verticality and the materials.
Wood. Super great. Wow. Well, thank you, Joan. How much fun was that? How much fun was that? Although next time, you know what? You and I cocktails. We got to do it over cocktails, make it much more fun.
Totally.
But I do appreciate it, Joan. Amazing project. And we definitely, next time I'm thinking a virtual walkthrough. I'm thinking
very good.
A video.
Or maybe a road trip to Florida.
All right. I'm down for that.
An honor.
Thank you, Joan. Really do appreciate it. And I would say thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our design conversation with Joan as much as I did. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.